He walked into our house like he owned it, cracking jokes about me, saying I should quit my job and just be a good little housewife. I smiled, nodded, and waited. Because years later, I was about to make him wish he'd never spoken a word. If you've ever been underestimated, mocked, or treated like you didn't matter, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. Today, I'm sharing a story about a woman who got years of revenge, and it was absolutely satisfying. The night had started so innocently. Our new house smelled of fresh paint and polished wood. Every corner reflected months of sweat, planning, and dreams turned into reality. My late husband had finally finished all of his training. He was a fully licensed carpenter now, and we had just moved into the home we had built together. It was a Saturday night, and he invited a few coworkers over. The air was filled with the scent of beer, fried snacks, and the crisp promise of a relaxing evening. I was bustling in the kitchen, trying to play the perfect hostess, making sure the table looked inviting, the drinks chilled, everything in place. At first, the evening was lighthearted. Laughter echoed through the living room. Glasses clanked. Stories were told. But then, one of the guys, a so-called funny contractor, decided to cross the line. "Oh, you're a lucky girl now," he sneered, leaning back in his chair. "Your husband's making the big money. You can quit your little job and be a good housewife." I froze mid-pour, my heart skipping a beat. My mouth opened, then closed. What? Did he just say that? My hands tightened around the tray. The clink of glasses sounded unbearably loud in my ears. I felt my face flush, not with embarrassment, but with that hot, simmering mix of disbelief and anger. Before I could even think of responding, my husband laughed. Not awkwardly, he laughed with that calm, confident smile that made him the man I loved. "About that," he said, standing tall. "She makes what we would make in 4 years, in less than one. She paid for this entire place in cash." The guy laughed, thinking it was some kind of joke. "What? As a secretary?" I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. My education, my career as an engineer, my hard work, dismissed with a single smirk. But my husband wasn't done. "No," he said firmly, "she has more education and brains than anyone at this table." Even though my English wasn't perfect, the words rang loud and clear. My heart swelled, not just with love for him, but with pride, because for the first time, someone else had truly seen the value I brought to the world. The man's smirk faltered, his laughter strangled in his throat. To his credit, my husband didn't tolerate it, he threw him out right then and there. Years passed. Life moved forward. I continued growing in my career, eventually landing a position in safety construction. It was fulfilling work, but the memory of that night never fully left me, the sting of being underestimated, mocked, and patronized. And yet, I waited. I waited for the right moment. Because revenge, I knew, wasn't just about instant gratification. It had to be perfect. Sweet. Earned. It was a routine walkthrough of a condo our company was developing. I was checking structural integrity, safety protocols, everything I had learned over years of experience. And then, I saw him. There he was, the man who had insulted me, now working as a contractor doing finishing work. The same smirk, the same cocky swagger, the same air of self-importance. I took a deep breath. My pulse quickened. My hands itched, not to hit him, not to yell, but to watch justice unfold. Scene 5, The Revenge Plan. I approached him calmly. My voice sweet, almost too polite. "Hey, can I ask you a few questions about this section?" Inside, I was calculating. Every tool out of place, every safety violation, every little mistake would be noted. And I knew exactly what would happen when the union got the report. The dust on the floor? I mentioned it. A hammer left on a ledge? Noted. shoelaces untied, ripped safety shoes, a broken guardrail. Every single thing meticulously documented. I watched his confident facade begin to crumble, ever so slowly. Every violation I pointed out was a tiny thread unraveling the armor he had built for years. There's something intoxicating about seeing someone who thought they were untouchable suddenly face consequences. The union rules were clear. These violations meant mandatory courses, 2 hours a night, unpaid, for 2 whole weeks. I imagined his frustration, his shame, every evening spent attending classes instead of lounging like he thought he would. And I didn't even need to raise my voice. I didn't need to get angry. I simply let the system, and my careful attention to detail, do the work. As I left the site that day, I felt a profound sense of relief. Not hatred. Not malice. Satisfaction. Vindication. It wasn't about ruining him, it was about being seen and making sure that those who underestimate or belittle others eventually face the consequences of their arrogance. I thought back to that night in our new house, the sneer that had cut deeper than any insult, and I smiled quietly. Years of patience, observation, and careful action had paid off in the sweetest, most satisfying way possible. He never expected it. Never imagined that the quiet, polite engineer he mocked would have the power, the knowledge, and the patience to turn his arrogance into a 2-week unpaid nightmare. When he saw the safety report, saw the list of violations, his face went pale. There was no one to laugh at him now. No smirks, no dismissive comments, just the cold reality that arrogance and disrespect have consequences. I watched him leave the site later that day, head down, walking slower than usual. And in that moment, I didn't feel joy in his misery. I felt the pure, undeniable satisfaction of justice served. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it's quiet, meticulous, and utterly unavoidable. And when it's earned, oh, it tastes so sweet. Remember, respect is not optional, especially to those who underestimate you. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And of course, subscribe for more Reddit revenge stories that will keep you hooked from start to finish.